Good morning, Britannia, and hello to the rest of the world. Welcome to Tousi TV and another episode of our morning brief, where we bring you guys the latest news headlines and the top stories of the day. Let's start by talking about the United Kingdom, specifically Scotland, because parents who challenge the teachers and woke schools about their kids' gender and pronouns, if they oppose it, they could get sent to jail for 7 years. We're going to be discussing all that, and we're going to talk about the biased BBC that have been exposed for breaking their own guidelines over the Israel and Gaza conflict. And of course, we're going to go to South America and Brazil, as yesterday saw a massive day of protest for free speech and freedom against the socialism and Lula's minions. And finally, Ed Miliband, the Minister for Net Zero, the Prince of Net Zero and Green Energy in the United Kingdom, has announced that, yes, is considering to scrap the existing plans for nuclear energy in the United Kingdom. Let's start by talking about Scotland, gender tyranny, thanks to the SNP socialist government. We already know that over the last few years, they've introduced a number of legislations and regulations, especially against free speech, but also when it comes to what they call conversion therapy. But it's not really what you think. It's not really about those who happen to be gay and they're being pressured not to be gay. This is actually about kids under 18 in schools being pressured or being pursued, but being brainwashed by their teachers or others to change their pronouns or gender temporarily, sometimes permanently. Parents in Scotland who refuse to allow their children to change their gender against the decision of their teacher could face up to 7 years in jail. The implementation is actually now coming, despite obviously a lot of warnings against it over the last few years. This will criminalize opposition even within families, sparking concerns about freedom of speech and family rights. Very basic family rights. Of course, we'll wait for the backlash on this, and we'll keep you guys posted on Tousi TV. Now, the media in the United Kingdom have been biased for a very long time by pretending not to be biased, which is the biggest issue. People have a problem when you're not honest with them, when you're not transparent. The BBC have broken their own guidelines many times, but this time it's on a whole new level because they breached their own editorial guidelines over 1,500 times since the 7th of October, since Israel was invaded by foreign forces. The research led by the British lawyer Trevor Assison also found that Israel was associated with genocide more than 14 times, obviously, than Hamas in the corporations in the BBC's coverage of the conflict. So the way they've been reporting it, they didn't even really focus on the 7th of October and what that actually was. The report suggests the findings reveal a deeply worrying pattern of bias and multiple breaches by the BBC of its own editorial guidelines on impartiality, fairness, and establishing the truth. And I must be honest, I have a bigger problem with the latter, the last part. If they cannot tell the truth properly, that is my issue. I don't have a problem if you're going to be biased as long as you're honest with the people, saying this is your opinion. But if you're pretending to be impartial, and of course you don't even tell the truth, that is a big issue. Now, speaking of telling the truth, in Brazil, telling the truth is a taboo. But Brazilian patriots and freedom fighters cross-party have decided to gather yesterday in Sao Paulo and many other places as well, to protest for free speech against the socialism and Lula's minions. Hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets of Brazil to protest for freedom against the socialism. The scientist, Dr. Simon Godek, said people were arriving proud of their country. They were singing the national anthem, and it was super loud. People were really excited. I really enjoyed being there, especially standing on top of the bus and seeing miles of people, crowds of patriots from all political sides. And meanwhile, Lula and his associates decided to hold a parade for independence, and not many people actually turned up. It was an empty parade. Now, talking about the United Kingdom again, British politics is getting completely fascinating because this government are getting away with so much while there is no real clear opposition from the official opposition party, which is the Conservatives. And Ed Miliband, who's the Prince of Net Zero in the United Kingdom and friends of Greta Thunberg and all the others, is now considering to scrap the existing nuclear plant plans. The one source of energy that is clean, actually clean, and of course, as technology improves, it's become safer and even cheaper and smaller that you can do. But of course, Ed Miliband doesn't like it because the Green lobby would pay him not to like it. The review will also reconsider the official target announced under Boris Johnson to deploy at least 24 gigawatts of nuclear capacity by 2050. Now, this could be insanity by this socialist government, but I am not surprised. Claire Coutinho from the Conservative shadow from bench said, Ed Miliband is shutting down the North Sea, and now it seems he's turning his back on nuclear. You cannot have an energy system based on wind and sun alone. This is total economic insanity. All it will mean is more imports from abroad and higher bills. And I must say it's rare, but I would agree with this Tory, Claire Coutinho. Anyway, we'll keep you guys posted on all that, of course, throughout the day. We will bring back any breaking news live streams from around the world that would be needed. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.